Hey traders, Shane from GMT Futures and FX, welcome back. I'm going to take you through now our VM dynamic target. So in the last video we looked at the VM fixed target. This time we're going to have a look at the VM dynamic target. We've got the Euro USD 122 tick chart loaded up here. We're looking for a trade short, which we have set up. You can see the strategy is picking the short setup. And previously we looked at the fixed target, so now we're going to have a look at the dynamic target. So what happens with our VM target is that on entry on our short position, we get a value that our VM number is reading. So that's reading 20 ticks, so that's our target. Now, what happens though, as the VM target starts to move with an increase in volatility, so will our target. So if our VM indicator jumps up to 23, then our actual target will jump to 23 pips. So, and as we see here, it jumps to 27 because we've got a rising VM indicator. Now we've got 27 pips as our target. So entry there on the short there is 11354, and our target is obviously going to be dynamic. So let's have a look. There's our fixed target. So if we switch our strategy, we'll go into the strategy itself, and we'll just go down to the VM targets, which we have here. Now we're going to switch this from our tick is our setting because the tick is going to work for both futures and forex. The VM target, we have to have that as a on, which is a 1. That'll make sure that the actual target's being taken as a VM target. We change it from fixed to dynamic, and let's see exactly what happens once we do that. So we change from fixed to dynamic, and we should get an exit around about here based on that dynamic 27 pips. There's our VM target. So that's fantastic. So it's that simple. So ideally, if you're wanting to have more of a self-calibrating system that is virtually optimizing itself based on the market dynamics, the dynamic indicator, or that dynamic VM indicator, is perfect for your targets, because as volatility rises, so does your target. So let's have a look at this again. So let's just decide. You can see we've got a massive sell-off there on the Euro USD. Now let's just play with this a little bit. Let's just assume we're going for a 2-to-1 in our target, and we're going to have a look at this as an example. Our ratio is 2-to-1, and we're going to take this back to a fixed target. There's our fixed target, and we're going to mark where the fixed target gets us out, and we're going to see how much more value there is in the dynamic target, because you can see that. So the VM target's really starting to move up, and it gets to a value there of around 40 pips. So let's see what that does. We'll mark where the fixed target gets us out at 2-to-1. So that's 2-to-1 on our fixed. So traders, what we'll do now is we'll jump in, we'll set the ratio as, we'll keep the ratio at 2-to-1, but we'll just turn it to dynamic and see how much of an improvement that makes. So we'll change that to dynamic. And let's see what kind of an improvement we get as far as performance. So that's where we would have been taken out, and we'll just have a look at how many pips that is. And so there's our pip count on the fixed target. It's around about 40 pips, which is what we had before, about 40 pips. Now dynamically, if we use the dynamic target, we actually end up with a massive, let's have a look here, let's get this scope of this into play. As you can see, it's just building that 80 pips, we get down to 92 pips, and we end up down here at around 102 pips. So there is a huge value, so we end up with 148 pips from that entry point, which is fantastic. Close to 150 pips. So that's just the value of using that dynamic VM indicator. So very exciting. It's going to be fantastic to see how much improvement you get with your strategies, particularly when you've got markets like the currencies and the futures that you can have really big momentum days. And this is dynamically calibrating your system to capture those big dynamic moving days, and that's what we want. So 150 pip move picked up beautifully by the VM indicator, and you can see there that was pretty much the end of the move. Once we got down to that value there, we bottomed out, and not really too much more profit taken there on that setup. So a great example of why the dynamic VM indicator is so valuable for us. Alright guys, thank you for your time and look forward to catching you on the next video. Cheers.